Once upon a time, in a bustling city divided by wealth and poverty, there lived two men as different as night and day. On the affluent side lived Richard Sterling, known to all as Rich, a man whose wealth was as vast as the ocean. Across the river, in a humble shack, dwelled Peter Goodman, called Poor Pete by those who knew him, a man of meager means but of a rich heart, which, with his slicked-back hair and bespoke suits, commanded a business empire that stretched across the globe. His days were filled with meetings, handshakes, and a constant buzz of the stock market. Despite his success, which often found himself lost in the emptiness of his grand mansion, surrounded by luxury but devoid of warmth. In contrast, poor Pete, with his threadbare clothes and calloused hands, led a life of simplicity. He worked as a gardener, tending to the flowers and plants that brought beauty to the city's dreary corners. His small home was always filled with laughter, and the sweet aroma of his home-cooked meals, shared freely with anyone who needed a bite. One fateful day, their paths crossed in the most unexpected way. Which, in his sleek sports car, took a wrong turn, and found himself in the less affluent part of the city. Intrigued by the vibrant life in these streets, he stopped to take a closer look. That's when he saw Pete, working in a community garden, his face alight with joy. Curiosity piqued, which approached Pete and struck up a conversation. The contrast between them couldn't have been more stark yet. As they talked, they discovered they shared a love for gardening, which, impressed by Pete's knowledge and passion, found himself visiting the garden more often. Days turned into weeks, and the two men from vastly different worlds became friends, which started to see life through a new lens, appreciating the small joys and the value of community. He even rolled up his sleeves and helped in a garden, feeling a sense of fulfillment he had never experienced in boardrooms or on stock exchanges. Meanwhile, Pete, with his boundless optimism, began to influence those around him, including Rich. He taught Rich the value of giving, not just in terms of money, but in time and kindness, which, in turn, shared his business acumen with Pete, helping him turn his gardening skills into a small but thriving business. As their friendship deepened, they decided to embark on a project that would bridge the gap between their two worlds. Together, they transformed a neglected plot of land into a community garden, a place where people from all walks of life could come together to grow food, flowers, and friendships. The garden became a symbol of hope and unity in the city, which learned that wealth was not just about money, but about the richness of one's heart and the connections one makes. Pete, with his newfound success, showed that poverty wasn't a permanent state, but a challenge to be overcome with perseverance and support. Years passed, and a community garden flourished, just like the friendship between Rich and Pete. They had come from different worlds, but in the end, they realized that they were not so different after all. Both sought happiness, purpose, and connection, things that money couldn't buy and poverty couldn't take away. In their twilight years, sitting side by side in a garden they had built together, Rich and Pete would often reflect on their journey. They had taught each other invaluable lessons about life, breaking down barriers, and building something beautiful in their wake. And so, in a city once divided, a rich man and a poor man showed that true wealth lies not in one's pocket, but in one's heart. Through their unlikely friendship, they changed not only each other's lives, but also the lives of many in their community, proving that when we come together, we can overcome any divide.